Welcome to the Commercial Community Podcast, a mindset training podcast dedicated to helping commercial realtors, investors, and property owners develop and strengthen their thoughts for short and long-term success. We all know that thoughts shape attitude, and attitude affects your altitude in life. Join us weekly as we discover and discuss the thought patterns and successful habits it takes to create positive results in real estate, business, and life. Now, here are your hosts, Marisa Arthur and Kat Isfan.
Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to the Commercial Community Podcast. We're so excited today. We're doing episode 2 of Developing a Commercial Mindset. And I get the special privilege of being here with my co-host, Marisa Arthur. Hi, Marisa.
Hi everyone.
And how are you?
I'm doing excellent.
Have you had an amazing weekend?
Yes.
Yeah?
I did.
That's awesome. And we actually have a very, very special guest with us today.
We do.
We have Dale Milton, who's the owner of DPR Realty and DPR Commercial. Hi, Dale.
Hi, thank you, Kat. Thank you, Marisa. Glad to be here.
Well, I know we've got some great questions for Dale, and I've kind of lost my voice as of my rampage yesterday, so I'm going to take myself out as much as possible and kind of let you lead the way.
Okay.
Is that okay, Marisa?
Yeah, that would be terrific. Is that okay, Dale?
Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Perfect. So my first question, Dale, is if you could describe yourself in third person, who would you say Dale Milton is?
Well, anytime anybody that knows me would know it'd be very hard for me to describe myself because I consider myself a fairly humble person, but I'm a very caring, understanding family person and love the family atmosphere. And it's not just the personal family, but it's the family within the business and all of that. And I try to be fair.
Yeah, that's so true. What I know of you, that is 1,000% true.
And I know I said I wasn't going to talk, but let me just interject.
Okay, yes.
Because you are humble, Dale, but what you've done over the last decade plus, especially helping the real estate community, has been amazing. And to hear your story, and now you're actively involved in helping over 900 agents here in the Arizona marketplace have success in real estate is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. And I think the DPR started in 2001, so you've been the owner of the real estate company for quite a while. So
yeah, DPR started, I believe it was December 12th, 2001.
Okay.
I came on board with DPR Realty in January of 2001. I had already passed all the requirements for the state, but I didn't want to hang my license until January.
Very good, very good. So Dale, looking back, how did you get into the real estate business?
Well, I spent 25 years with United Parcel Service, and in 2000, I retired from United Parcel Service, but after being retired for a year, Sharon, my wife, as you know, told me I had to go get a job.
Okay.
So at that time I said that, all right, I'll go sell real estate, thinking that I could come into the industry, just kind of do it as kind of a part-time job, and fell in love with the industry and the people, and being able to work with people one-on-one. I just fell in love with it.
Very good.
And it's interesting, Dale, because transition is such a key word in many people's lives.
Yeah.
Many people that come into real estate are transitioning from something else. Very few people grow up, from an early age, and all they've done is real estate. So many people either come from a retirement environment, or from a corporate environment, or from another business environment, and so it's curious to think what mindset did you have to have at that time, thinking back, okay, I'm not just going to stay in retirement and I'm not just going to get a job, but where was your thinking in wanting to get into real estate?
Well, with United Parcel Service, for those that don't know and understand, they are extremely structured.
Yeah.
I mean, every second of a UPS driver's day is bland. And
Wow.
so we are very structured. We're typically very organized and very
Okay.
driven as well. And
Okay.
you take that, and to back up a little bit, back in 1980, I thought about going into real estate. You know,
Okay.
and those that were around in 1980 realized that it wasn't a real good time to go into real estate because the interest rates were so high at the time.
Yeah.
So I elected to stay with UPS at the time, and so it was always in the back of my mind.
Okay.
I didn't know a whole lot about it, you know, but I was willing to go in and dig in and learn and figure it out, and that's what I think I do best.
So and this is kind of a little bit off the topic, but so the transition from being a real estate agent to the owner of a real estate company now with nearly 900 agents. So what can you think of a point in time that what caused you to make that shift to go from realtor to owner?
Well, it really fit what I do and what I was trained to
Yeah.
do with United Parcel
I can see
Service.
that.
And if you look around the industry, you'll have some very, 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 very successful real estate agents. And that's what they do best, is work with the people and sell real estate.
Yeah.
And they think that they do that, they do so well, let me go start my own brokerage. Then they go start their own brokerage and they say, holy cow,
Yeah.
you know, this isn't selling real estate. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I love to do. And it didn't fit what they were.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of a blend of both.
Yes.
I came from the management side and the real structure side in management. And then when I fell in love with real estate, it really fit what I could do and what I could
Yeah.
bring
I could see that.
to the table. And I never really even thought about it. It just fit and happened.
It's just who you
Yeah.
were, so it was a natural progression for you. I could see that. Very good.
Which is an interesting thought to have, and that is leadership developed or is it born? You know, and you can always help a person develop his leadership skills,
Yeah.
but I think it's very hard to develop a person into a leader unless they want to be one.
Absolutely.
And what it comes across to me is that Dale was born to be a leader, born to help develop things.
It's in his nature.
It's in his
Yeah.
nature, but he's applied a lot of skill sets along the way
Yeah.
to get him to where
Well,
he is
yeah,
today.
all the way through life, I believe that you're going to learn something from everybody that you're associated with. You know, when I was with United Parcel Service, I strived to learn something from everybody that I worked with, everybody that I worked for, good or bad.
Yeah.
Some of it was, I never want to be able to do something like that. Some of it was, you know, I want to build that into my personality. So you take the good and the bad from
Yes.
everybody, you learn it, and you mold yourself
Yeah.
from everybody that you've been around your whole life.
Yeah. To create your style.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so Dale, what has been one or two things you've learned over the years about investing your time or money in the real estate industry?
You know, that's a real easy question.
Okay.
Well,
Good.
a real easy answer. And that's patience.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because there is no quick buck. You know, you're not going to go out there and, you know, if you're flipping houses, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. You're not going to go out on a regular basis and buy a house, do nothing to it, and turn around and make a profit. That's not what. It's not the way it happens. You know, so you have to be patient. You have to be willing to take the good with the bad and give it time to grow and develop. You know, if you try to rush it, it's not going to be done right.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to dot your I's and cross your T's and get it
Yeah.
right, for sure.
And you know what we say in the commercial markets, most people that buy a commercial piece of property, it's one thing to buy it, but it's another thing to hold on to it. And most holding time frames are between 5 to 7 years of a commercial piece of property. But in those 5 to 7 years, it's what you do with it that makes all the difference on your ability to dispose of it after that term.
Yeah.
You know, and so much of patience is what you're talking about is it's easy to run into a deal or run into an ownership position, but the patience required to do it well while you're holding on to it is a whole different animal.
How do you develop that
Yeah.
ownership, relationship, or commercial building while you have it in your possession, so to speak?
Right.
That's exactly right. That's where the patience comes from.
Right.
And sometimes it's tough because they're huge investments.
Sure.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So if you could share an idea or insight to someone looking at investing in the real estate business, whether as a commercial agent or an investor, what would that idea be?
If you are an investor, get with a commercial agent that understands and knows what you need, what your goals
Okay,
are,
yeah.
and that they have the skills or the support to help you obtain those skills.
Okay.
And from the real estate agent side, you need to develop those skills. You can't just say, I'm a commercial agent, and go out there and do the right thing and be successful. You have to have a good training platform in putting those people around you that their strengths are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
When you do that, you really can generate a fantastic team, because there is nobody that is great at everything. But the true successors and the true leaders are the ones that can surround themselves with the people that can do the things better than you can.
Sure.
And then when you come together, you have an incredible result.
Yeah, that's a good bit of advice for sure. So if you were to start over again in the industry, knowing what you know now, what would be something that you would do differently?
I don't know if there would have been anything that I would have done differently. I haven't done anything that I said, geez, I wish I would have done that different. And it goes back to the last discussion we had about surrounding yourself with people that had the strengths, and before that we were talking about the investor picking the agent that knew what he was doing. I partnered with Tom. Tom had the strengths where I was weak, and I had the strengths where he was weak, and we made a really excellent team in being able to grow and develop DPR. They all tie together.
Yeah. So no regrets.
No regrets.
Very good. Okay, so looking forward over the years to come, what would you want the real estate industry to help create for yourself, your family, your agents, and your staff?
Boy, probably the best thing that the industry can do is generate some consistency and message for the whole country. Early in the day we were talking about the e-buyers and how they're affecting the industry, and how some companies, I won't mention the companies, that have grown to be national, and they go to, the public goes directly to them instead of going to the resources that we had, and we virtually allowed the other company to grow and become bigger than what we are. When I say we, it's the industry and the people that own the industry. So we have to just progress and be aware of the challenges that are coming up, and come up with a collective way to address those challenges, whether it be training the agents, whether it be training the public, or creating a platform that will continue to help the industry grow. That's what we need to do as an industry.
All of the above.
All
3 of those I think would be great.
And it's funny, now it's been probably over 10 years ago, I read a book called Good to Great. And in that book, it talked about how to take a good company and help it become a great company. And what's fascinating in that book is that leaders that want to develop themselves into greatness rarely don't last very long, because a company is a reflection of the people within it. So
Yes.
I know you've surrounded yourself with family, staff, just great leaders within the company. And it's about not making the company be great in and of itself, but it's helping those people within the company develop into great people.
Yeah.
Because as we as individuals become better than what we were yesterday, the company is a reflection of that.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, and I would definitely say it's almost like a philosophy within Dale's company.
Yeah.
To run it that way. It's giving his people the tools to be the best that they could be, to strive to be the best that they could be,
Right.
and through that, there's a loyal following here.
Yeah, and the book makes complete sense when you think about it. And if you want success long term,
Right.
if you to bring it down into smaller terms, if a person wants to be successful within a company, there's two ways to do that. You either have a sponsor and get pulled up from above, and in that instance, you might not have the training or knowledge that's required to do that job, or you build the foundation underneath you of people,
Yes.
agents, coordinators, whatever it is, to build their strengths so they can lift you up into that position.
Yeah.
Because now that when you leave and move on, everything is already in place and your people know exactly what to do. And for long term, that's the way it has to be developed.
Yeah.
Or else you're just going to have a short-term company or
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes perfect sense. So Dale, how important is it to surround yourself with the right people when building a real estate business?
Didn't I just answer that? It's absolutely true, and I could say the exact same thing I just said. You have to build the platform and the base, so the people can around you. I mean, we have a phenomenal staff in my mind, and they do their very best to take care of the agents. But you go down below that, if you don't do things to make the agents successful, your company's not going to be successful, your real estate company, because they are the ones out there beating the streets, talking to the public.
Yeah.
And like I just said, if they're successful, you're going to get pushed up
Yes.
inside the industry, to where you're going to have 900 agents instead of 20, 30, 40, 100, whatever it may be. And that's the only way you're going to get there, is to make sure that the people on the streets and the real estate agents and your staff, you give them the tools of what they need and the training that they need to be successful, to be able to lift the company up.
Very good.
Well, and you told me a few weeks ago about how you had to let key personnel go, just because they weren't the right fit, and they weren't in the right place in their own mind to be able to continue to operate within the DPR environment. But it's so true, because even in commercial real estate, you might have an amazing property, but if the tenant within that property isn't the right fit for the property, it's going to bring down the property
Yes.
value
Yes.
because of the type of tenant they are.
Yeah.
So I know you've experienced over the years, Dale, people that have come in and out of DPR, always wanting to get the right fit. But how have you dealt with people that have come in, you've had great expectations for them, and then you've seen that kind of fizzle away? What's that done on your psyche?
Well, that's tough, and it becomes exceptionally tough for me.
Yeah.
But company A may not be the right fit for agent A or agent B, and if it doesn't work and the chemistry isn't there, then something's got to change. But you've got to go to that person and explain that it's what we do may not fit what you need. And you can help them find that. And we would love to believe that we are the best fit for everybody, and
Sure.
and all the things that we put together and strive for and develop to try to be that for everybody, you can't be, and we'll never stop trying to be, because that's the only way we're going to get better and we're going to learn. But sometimes there is that agent that what we do and doesn't fit, and it bothers me when it doesn't, and then I try and do things in the future to prevent that from happening. But we're not going to be the best fit, even though we would love to be, and no company can be.
Yeah.
If there'd be one company in the entire industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everybody has different needs, different wants, different desires.
Sure.
And you can't have a one size fits all, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's just
You
part
can only
of it.
you can only strive for it.
Right.
Absolutely. So Dale, what was a challenging experience that you went through that you feel has helped shape you as an investor and as a business owner?
Well, it wasn't just, I guess it could be lump sum into a 25-year experience. My time and experience and training within United Parcel Service, all the way from the bottom. I mean, I started at the very, very bottom.
Okay.
And went all the way, up through the management system.
Which is unheard of nowadays.
Yeah. And, so at every step of the way, I was learning, developing my personality, but developing my management style. I was also taught a lot of classes for United Parcel Service to train other management people,
Okay.
And you learn from that as well. So it was really a 25-year experience in developing who I am. And then when you go into the other world, we used to call it, sometimes it's the real world, not the United Parcel Service bubble that we all lived in. All those skills still apply. It's just in a different manner or a different presentation. You still have to be reserved as an investor, and sometimes as a business owner you have to be reserved as a business owner. Sometimes you have to be aggressive as a business owner. Sometimes as a business owner you have to make the unfavorable decisions. But one thing that you always have to do is, in your heart, know that you're making the best decision for the big picture. It can never be about me. It can never be just me. It can never be just about DPR. It can never be just about the agent. It has to be about everything in the collectively.
Sure.
And if you try and always make those decisions and you feel good that you made that decision from your heart, and it wasn't a rash decision that you jumped to. I've made those too.
Really good advice.
and I learned from them.
Sure.
And it caused some problems for us that we had to go back and fix. But you have to learn from every decision you make.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Well, and it's funny because I say that often, don't I? Say it's funny. I gotta change that word.
Which word?
I always say it's funny. Anyway, it's not funny.
It's funny.
It's serious.
And yet we're not laughing.
Right, exactly. So, one quick fun thing about you, because I know you're planning a huge trip right now, and it's interesting for me to see that people who have a dynamic business, meaning that they take extreme actions within the business environment, also seem to have a secret part of their life that is pretty extreme. I know I do extreme things all the time, and my wife doesn't always agree with the extreme things that I do. But would you just tell us a little bit about what you're about to endeavor
your trip
upon?
that you're going on?
Well, I'm going up to northern Alberta, taking a float plane in about 250 miles out in the middle of nowhere. Gonna drop us off, and gonna be out there in the woods with all the critters and just a buddy of mine and a couple other people, and just, I'll call it enjoying life. I mean, we live in a very high stress
Right.
business, and world now, and no cell phone access, no TV,
Great.
no internet, so I can't do emails. I can do nothing.
Fantastic.
Fire up the satellite phone every couple of days and call Sharon and tell her I'm still alive.
Okay.
You know, and they'll drop us off and they'll pick us up 2 weeks later, and I'm really, really looking
That's
forward
exciting.
to getting out and just relaxing and doing my own thing, whatever it is that day I want to do. You know,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
And do you find that
Sorry.
kind of environment actually helps reset your thinking, or find some freshness?
It definitely straightens it out.
Okay.
Because even though you go out out there in the middle of nowhere, your mind still doesn't shut down.
Right.
You know, I'm still thinking about the decisions, thinking about what I have to do when I get back.
Sure.
But there's a lot of times that I can just sit there and just look out and knowing that as far as I can see, there's not another human being. And so it's kind of nice. You know what it's like
Sure.
when you get to the top of a mountain and,
Right. Absolutely.
and you can just sit there and look out and just kind of take a deep breath and take it all in and help clear the mind. So when you come back into the so-called rat race,
Right.
you're refreshed. You know, your mind's back in a good place, and it's needed. You know, people have to be able to get away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you work so hard throughout the entire year, and it's wonderful that you have something like that to look forward to. And it sounds like it's your zen place.
Yeah, might be, might be.
Well, I'm excited for us to have had a chance in a few minutes. I know you're tight on time, Dale, and I appreciate you stopping by. And so much of the commercial community is focused on helping people reset their mind, like you just said, you know, and creating an environment, because I know on the outside, everybody wants to see the material results of investing in a property or starting a real estate business or whatever it might be.
So true.
But so often people forget that to show up well on the outside, you have to show up well on the inside.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, definitely.
And so two thoughts, maybe just two questions for the audience to ponder as we conclude the podcast. And so more, this is to you guys, the audience. So, and based on a lot of the things that Dale had said too, is who do you currently surround yourself with that can help you accomplish your real estate and life goals? So right now, as you're listening to this podcast, you're probably thinking, do I have anybody around me, you know, that I'm surrounded by and with to help me create the goals that I want for myself, really? Because no man is an island unless you are.
Yeah, unless you want it that way.
Unless you want it that way. But it's very hard to accomplish real estate goals.
Being isolated.
But the first thing you have to do is set those goals.
Absolutely.
Understand where you want to be, and then create the roadmap on how to get there. You know, but the first thing you have to do is understand and set the goals and long term. You know, the goal can't be I'm going to, sell 2 buildings this year, and you've got to think longer than that.
Absolutely.
Even though that those are going to be parts and steps in the process.
Right.
Where do I want to be in 10 years? What do I want to be doing? And a lot of it you guys do, and that's training other agents, and you get a lot of satisfaction and joy knowing when you see somebody that you worked with in training 10, 15 years ago, and you take great pride and satisfaction in where they've come. And where they are today. You can stand tall and say, hey, I had a part in the development of that person. And and a lot of what you do is teach how to make a plan, how to do a goal, and so that's the first thing that you have to do is set that goal and then develop the plan on how to get to it.
Absolutely. And then our last question, really for the audience, is many people might listening to this feel stuck right now in their own personal real estate investment goals, or maybe you feel stuck in your business, you feel stuck in your real estate career. And then the question to ask yourself with that process is there a community or group of people that you can surround yourself with to help you get unstuck?
Sure.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity.
Insanity. That's the definition of insanity.
Absolutely.
Insanity.
And that's because there was no goal.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you get stuck in that loop,
Yep.
doing the same thing every day. I won't use the word hope, or expecting. You're expecting change.
Right.
But if you don't change your path, you're not going to change the result.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's great comfort in having a business plan and having goals. And, on days where people are maybe feeling a little bit lost or floundering or discouraged, you just look at that business plan, look at those goals, and are you on target to hit them? And if you just focus on those, what you set out to do, there's so much comfort in it, in going that way. And then, and like you were suggesting, surrounding yourself with other people that could help push you and pull you and influence you is right where it's at. I encourage everyone to do that. Surround yourself with people that are talented and skilled in different areas maybe that you're not, that'll challenge you. And it's something that I do. I know it's something that both of you do as well. So
yeah, understand that you're not on an island. You know, there's a lot of other.
Unless you're moose hunting.
Yeah, unless you're moose hunting. Yeah.
I think there's times when you need to out of necessity, isolate yourself.
Yeah. Well, you do there. You always have to do that, but you have to have the people around you where you can pull from their energy, pull from their organization, pull from them being able to push you, as well as you reciprocate.
Yes.
You know, and you push them as well. You have to have that.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thanks everybody for
you,
listening
Kat.
in to the
Thank you,
community
Dale.
commercial community
Thank you,
podcast.
Marissa.
And feel free to share this with anybody that you know in the industry that, like you, feels that they might be stuck and they're looking for a way to just connect to
Definitely.
some more insight and mindset training.
Definitely.
And then we'll see you guys all on our next
All right.
podcast.
Thank you,
Great.
Kat. Thank you,
Thank
Marissa.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Commercial Community Podcast. If you'd like to put into action any of the thoughts or ideas shared on today's podcast, you can reach either Marissa or Kat at dprcc.com/community or email at community@dprcc.com.